No, you're in the wrong seat.
We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Mrs. Issing.
Here.
Mr. Klein.
Present.
Mr. Kachasik.
Here.
Dr. Costa.
Here.
Mr. Leonard.
Here.
Mr. Matarazzo.
Here.
Mr. Namick. Here. Mr. Petrucci. Here. Mr. Stovar.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. I guess we could go to information, Dr.
Oh,
Harris.
thank you, Mr. Leonard. First of all, we lost, it was the softball semifinals. They would have won today. They would have went to the states. But unfortunately, they lost to Armstrong 3-2. It was a close game. We had the lead for most of the game. And just, I think, inning 5 and 6, they overtook us. They tied us and then overtook us. And then we ended up losing. So that was this afternoon. I was at the game, and the girls do an excellent job. It's just that we lost to Armstrong, the Whipples, by 1 point, and then they still qualify for the states. They did very well in the states, and then we had to play against Armstrong again. So they lost to them today, 3-2. So almost, but keep going. So this officially ends all of our sports season. So, and I guess we'll be starting soon with the new year. So. But today, we're very fortunate we have 4 retirements, 4 retired staff members at the board, and we have a couple of things that we just want to say about them, and Scott has something.
Oh, we're ready already?
Calling and worked on with him, and I have something to pass out for him.
Yeah, the first one's Mr. Krovac. Could you please stand up, Mr. Krovac? I had the pleasure of working with Mr. Krovac for a number of years at the high school, and he was always a fan favorite with the kids. They always enjoyed him, and we never got complaints out of Mr. Krovac's classroom. He's old school. He handled things on his own and took care of discipline. I don't think I ever saw a kid out of his classroom. He did it right, so we appreciate that. What are your plans for retirement, Mr. Krovac?
Whatever I want. I have no plans. Live life, enjoy my grandkids.
Good for you. You still coaching anywhere? No coaching.
First time in 49 years. I'm coaching.
Yeah, you coached a number of years. I know you did track, football, anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah. So, I can tell you a little bit about him. Mark joined Penn Trafford in 1987. He followed in the footsteps of his father, who was a teacher. Mark's career enabled him to teach his favorite subject, social studies, and coach his favorite sport, which is football. Mark attended Bethany College and the University of Pittsburgh and has taught both Trafford Middle and Penn Trafford High Schools. He claims his teaching career was a combination of good and bad days, but he's very thankful for the many good friends he made during his tenure. So, Mark, we thank you for all you've done for the district. I always enjoyed working with you. I know the kids certainly enjoyed you, and we appreciate everything you've done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Even though you don't have anything timed anymore, we do have a clock to remember us. Appreciate it. And make sure we have some cake for you later to celebrate. Now, some retired teachers have saved the piece or saved the cake, and they froze it, and they had it on the very first day of school. And that's what they also told me to do. But I know you work with any student who needed help, you gave them help. Because there's so many things that you learn. And you also make social studies and current events and all the different courses you taught very interesting, related to kids, and they enjoyed your class. What is your biggest memory you have?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that, thank the school district for taking a chance on me 35 years ago. And, it made, my life possible. So greatly appreciate that. But it's just so many kids that I developed relationships with, and had a little party in my house the other night, Friday night, and there were kids I coached from Penn Trafford there. It was just relationships like that are tough to build. So it was just a opportunity to build relationships like that. So.
One of the things that,
New teachers, we can't, I already say, we can't, you don't come, either you have that ability to form relationships or you don't. That is something you can learn in college, that is something you can't just do, you either have it or you can't. And that's one of the things when we're watching our staff and new hires, we realize, yes, you have it.
one thing that Mark, you know you make connections with kids. One thing that always happened is during the school year, and typically at Christmas or one of the holidays or the end of the school year when college was out, the kids would show up in the office and want to go see one of their favorite teachers, and he was always one of them. So kids always, they do that. So you had a good impact on a number of kids, Mark, so thanks.
I'd like to add that Bob Cornelli told me you won't make a mistake if you hire Mark Kropak, and he was right.
Appreciate that. It's good to hear.
Actually, Nick was here when I was 35.
Him and Barney Rubble and Fred Flintstone.
No, he was a student in Norwood, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You had my son watch,
Everyone is retiring.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy.
And I have a comment or two for you.
Enjoy.
You said about you wanted to spend a lot of time with your grandkids. I'm retired, almost going on 5 years. That's a lot of what I do. I have 13 of them, so it's kind of going around a little bit, and a couple of great grandkids. But one of the old fellows that retired where I used to work, he was on our board. He used to come in and tell me, and I'd say, well, how's it going? And he'd say, every day Saturday at my house. So that's the way.
Nice Friday night.
Every night's Friday night, every day is Saturday.
So take and do some of that, and you have a happy and good retirement.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
you had at least my one son, I believe, Brian.
I had two sons. Okay.
Well, the other son's not as much into this, but
Yeah.
Brian stayed up because of him. That Bush Gore election, all night. Had his calculator, had everything going, predicting that, who was gonna win.
Counting the hanging chads.
He was.
That was the
I didn't even know what a Chad was until that election.
But you had Brian all excited, I can tell you that.
We had a different way to do our elections.
Nope, just me. We're working on that. So we're I'll do that.
All right, the next person I know very well.
I didn't know there was gonna be an interrogation.
Yeah, this is my wife, Anna Englert. Please stand up. And Anna's done. We met, how many years ago was it? 20?
A lot of years.
Back 1989 in Virginia. We taught together for a couple of years, and that's where we met. And we both found our way back to Pennsylvania. She ended up at York, and I ended up at Penn Trafford. Then she finally ended up back at Penn Trafford, and we lived life. Life was great, right?
Great.
Yeah, but I do appreciate Anna and everything that, when I was a principal and athletic director, there were many, many, many nights, especially when the kids were young, where I was not at home. There was days where I was out at Ligonier and Latrobe and didn't get home, left at 6 o'clock in the morning to get home at 10 o'clock at night, and she took care of things. And like I said, many nights, and she just took care of everything and the kids, and but she's been great, and this is her time to enjoy life now and move on to the next chapter. So we appreciate all you've done, Anna. And she was at Penn Middle School for, man, you've been a little bit everywhere. Where were you at in the district? The high school, I can't even remember the elementary schools.
I wasn't at McCullough or Harrison.
Okay. You handled the gifted program, you did math for many years, and so.
This is another one like that, too. Another Norwood person.
Yeah.
Well, let me read what we have
And
here.
for those who don't know, this is Pat Ratesik's daughter. Okay, and great job. Her mother taught alternative ed, and I had many of my students. We did this together, and every morning I had a cafeteria duty, and she was a sheer joy, and just super gal. And she's having some health issues now, as her dad is too. But this girl, she took an early retirement just to help out her parents, which I think that is phenomenal. But you've always been a good person. And I'll just add this too. It's just Scott didn't mention this part, but Scott and I do a lot of hunting together. This goes back to when Scott was even in junior high school, Scott? Probably way back.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, and he asked me, he said, "What do you know about Anna Retesic?" Okay? I don't know if Scott you remember this or not. And I said, "She's a real sweet kid." And a few years later, I was going to a wedding. But I just want to say, real good people, real nice family. And both parents, she took early retirement because she wanted to care for her parents, which I think is excellent.
Very admirable. Yeah.
Great work, young lady.
All right, well, let me read her bio. Anna always knew that she wanted to be a teacher. She attended Penn State, Cal U, and St. Francis, and holds an undergrad degree in math education, a master's degree in elementary ed, and principal certification. She spent her first 6 years teaching in Virginia, then the Yawk School District, and has been to Penn Trafford since 1995. Anna can't pinpoint a favorite moment in her career, saying it's a million little things. The daily interactions with the great students that come from teaching classes, but there are countless interactions in the less formal settings, in the cafeteria, bus, and so on, in the halls and classes that is just so special. So she can't imagine another job that could be as rewarding and as important and as fun. So thank you, Anna.
Yeah, I heard that. Just so, first of all, I have like colleagues that are gonna be my friends forever, and I think that's special. But just so many, and not even so much in the classroom, but it's the more like, the decades of cafeteria duty where you get to just talk to the kids. I think are the best one. And I also remember when I was here and doing gift with my dad, man, like he would yell at people, He beat kids too. But anyway. I heard him yell. Remember how? Oh yes. And I just like became 5 again. I think I peed a little bit. Like those things. Just so many things. I'm just grateful that I don't know. I'm grateful that I am able to go a year or 2 early to be there for my parents and with no regrets at all.
Everything we put in, every new initiative, anything different, you always signed up. You always worked the summer. He was also the head teacher of Penn Middle School, so I know Jim's going to miss you.
Wow.
Very much. People don't know that. Everything she did, every day, the bus duties, the lunch duties, never always wanted to do that without any question to it.
Always with a smile.
Yeah.
I'm talking, I would check on the winter bus duties, so that's always my worry with the snow, and she'd be out there just smiling, breathing, and then honestly, and it shows. She shows you enjoy your job.
And then she teaches the top gifted program.
You're gonna have a clock.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, again, some cake for either tonight or the very first day of school.
Thank you.
It's our vision of saving cakes.
Yeah.
Okay, next is Ms. Garris, Kathy Kelly Garris. I had the pleasure of working with Kathy for many years. She was an outstanding teacher when I was with her here at the high school, and she still is, but she transitioned into principalship. You were 2 or 3 years you worked?
Almost 3.
Yeah, so she was a great asset to me as an assistant principal, and then she went back in the classroom, and she found her calling now in the media center. I think everybody remembers what she did a few months ago and how she's transformed things over there. She's done an incredible job with that. But yeah, I just have a lot of memories with you, Kathy, and you've always been an outstanding teacher and always had a great attitude and team player and doing things the right way. And your honesty and integrity could never be questioned, that's for sure. And she always tells me, you know me, I can't lie, I can't lie. So, she can't lie. Yeah, so she's just a class act, and you know what you get from Kathy, and she always was a straight shooter and told you how she felt, and sometimes it wasn't what you wanted to hear, but you needed to hear it, and we appreciate that. She will certainly be missed, so you've done a great job, so thank you for everything you've done.
Oh, thank you.
I do have it. You ready, Kathy?
I'm ready.
She joined us
I'm old and it's long.
1987. Who was first? You and Mark came together?
I was first.
Yep. Okay.
I always love them in the seniority.
There you go. So Kathy came to us in 1987. She received her bachelor's and master's degree from Indiana, or IUP I should say, and her principal certification from California University. During her tenure at PT, she taught at Level Green, Harrison Park, Penn Middle, and the high school. She feels the biggest changes in education came with the tightening of security because of school shootings and also many additional student services that are available today. Asked her favorite PT moment, she said, I don't really have an all-time favorite moment, but really funny one that shows how much PT has changed. In my final year, I was teaching senior English. I look up and there was a cow with its face smooshed up against my window. The farmer behind us had a cow escape. 2 boys jumped into action, took off his belt to make a halter. They ran outside, halter the cow, and put him back in the fence. That was whenever there was a farm in the back.
Yeah, the farm back here.
Where the softball field is now.
Right, and
Yeah.
it was right in my window, and I screamed, there's a cow in my window, and they thought I was crazy, and they just ran out, and then they fixed the fence for the farmer and came back in.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say those days are long gone.
Those days are long gone, unfortunately.
Yeah. So that's all I have, but Kathy, thank you so much. We appreciate your service.
Thank you so much. It was great to work with you, everyone here, Dr. Harris. You're always there for me, Scott, and I always appreciate it. And, he did put me on the spot, though, at homecoming when all 4 of my principals were there. Ray was there, Tony, you, and Pat, and he said, who was your favorite? And he put me on the spot. And I said, I love you, Scott, but
She couldn't lie.
like you said, he was there, it was like his dad or something. Because my dad and him were very similar in nature, and you hear that gruff voice and the yell, and same thing, he'd come down the hall, but he'd wink at you then when he yelled, because, he didn't mean it, he was all, gruff, and I loved it. So sorry if I ever offended you.
No offense taken. That was a good pick. At least it wasn't a Quilio or a Peduzzi, right?
Both great guys.
They were, you're
And
right.
thank you to the board for all your support over the years. And Mr. Bertucci, thank you for hiring me. Along with Mr. Kovac, I've had a lot of great years working with him.
And thank you for everything you've done transforming the library into what it is today.
Well, thank you.
So I appreciate that. There's a lot of projects.
You know when she was principal?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'd like to ask one thing real quick. Thanks, Dennis. One of the strongest handshakes you ever want to have is you shake Dennis's hand.
Oh, yeah.
Very strong, powerful guy, very cooperative. I had 28 auctions for the kids at Trafford for the playgrounds. He bent over backwards every year. Very good, super guy.
He's
Super
done
guy.
everything I've ever asked him to do.
Yeah, he's
School,
just
even
that
before
guy.
he worked.
Went out of his way many times for me.
Yes, he did. He would build homecoming floats for the kids. We'd be in our garage building
Yeah,
floats.
that's his makeup.
Yeah, sorry, both ours,
Well, thanks for hiring me.
Oh, man, it's getting old.
I make you support. My oldest daughter teaches German. My youngest at neuroscience at Pitt. Old Pitt.
That's right.
Thank you for all the roles you played around the school district, and you're gonna thank you.
Well, thank you for your leadership. It's a joy.
We have new, you gave us your favorite stories. We have some new teachers on tonight. What is your advice to survive 35 years?
That's a hard one because, if you love your job, you do take it home. And sometimes it's really hard to turn it off. And my husband can attest to that, my children can attest to that. And my daughter, I see it in her now. She brings it home and, and I would say try not to do that so much because you can really get burnt out. But when you love your job and you care about it, it's so hard not to do that. So you have to find a healthy balance for that.
I won't have to say that about
Thank you. All right, thank you.
And enjoy your day.
Okay, killing me. Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Goretz. Ms. Goretz, last but not least. Janice is a long-term kindergarten teacher at McCullough, and it takes a special breed to do kindergarten. So, you got those little ones who can't tie their shoes, and you're wiping their noses and trying to teach them how to read and write and do math. It's a challenge, and that's an area that I really have a lot of respect for our staff. Anyone in special ed and kindergarten, it's primary grades, it takes a special person to be able to do that, and she's done it very well. I know her colleagues and Ms. Marassi think so highly of her. And Dr. Harris had a nice little story about you when we were meeting with the board privately. You want to share that with her?
Just how I went to see you on your last day, and the kids had just came down and gave her some goodbye flowers. And it was her first, they was always with her in kindergarten. So I looked, she wasn't in the room, and I called a teacher, so I'm sure she didn't call us the last day. There was a sum in there, with extra. Kessler was actually in there. She had to run to the bathroom, and I just see her come out of the bathroom completely sobbing, sad, traumatized. She's going to miss this job. It's because this kids mean so much to her, and she has given herself to the children. And you could tell from that moment that she was very touched and appreciative. I hate to share the rest of it, I just wanted to I was impressed, but got yourself together for your last hour, and someone else probably sent more flowers out. So it goes, it's like Kathy said, it's just the whole motion. You don't turn your job off. You carry it with you. You carry it. It's there all the time. It's hard to turn it off. So you really did a great job when you were here working. We appreciate everything you did. And I almost got that you read your bio because I jumped in there.
Yeah. So Janice became a teacher after weighing the pros and cons of her other dream job, a commercial artist. She attended the University of Pittsburgh, Point Park University, and the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and is certified in early childhood and elementary education. Janice has taught for Penn Trafford since 1994 and has worked in Trafford, Harrison Park, McCullough, prior to that, she worked at St. James School in Wilkinsburg. She notes 2 tremendous changes in teaching over her 33-year career. And that's technology, and most recently, obviously, COVID. She couldn't narrow down one favorite memory, but did comment, "My greatest impact on my teaching was when my daughter was born. I learned that what it was like to be both a parent and a teacher, and I was able to appreciate as well as understand both roles better." And you're right about that. When you're a parent, it makes you a different teacher because you understand the other side.
If I could say so. My son, Mathis, he's going in 4th grade now. He had Miss Scratz in kindergarten. It was our first interaction with Penn Trafford School District was with Miss Scratz, great representative of the school district. She also sparked an interest in Washington, D.C. with my son because they learned about the cherry blossoms. So we took a long weekend so he could go and see the cherry blossoms. So thank you again.
Good.
I noticed you had your family here with you tonight.
I do. They are my rock. My husband is a teacher at Allegheny Valley School District, Doug. My daughter Autumn is a Penn Trafford graduate and a Seton Hill graduate. And my son Cole, who will be a senior next year here at PT. They're always behind me 100% with everything I've done, and always been on my side. And when I would be crying at home about something, they would always be there to help me figure it out, or at least, get me back on track again. So I appreciate you, because I couldn't have done it without all of you.
And what would be your advice to the new teacher, since we already talked about your memory?
My advice would be to keep your sense of humor about everything, because tomorrow's another day. So don't take it so much to heart that you can't get past it. So keep that humor in your heart, and pray too. I'm a very Christian person, so make sure you pray, and God will take care of you in the classroom.
Just a couple comments. I made some comments to the male teacher leaving. Now, you ladies, I know a couple of you some. I don't know you, unfortunately. But I do have educators in my family. Several of my children are educators in various places. And I know how they take that home with them. I know how full-time a job it is, how it isn't just here, isn't just in a classroom. And I've seen unfortunately, I never met you. But I did, but some of the other ones, but all of you, like what Matt said, you get glowing reports. You all been a great credit. We appreciate you. And Miss Scott's wife, I knew your dad. Where's she at? She's hiding. I knew your dad pretty well, and I heard that loud voice of his. And I had dealings with him, and he always was the type of guy who could gain your respect. And it wasn't like what he said he meant. And he followed through, and I always liked the way he did things. Now, I guess that's probably the pattern that you followed. I don't know, because I don't know you that well. But you guys, what I know about you, it's all good. We really appreciate you. I hope you, every day should be Saturday for a while at your house. Enjoy grandkids if you have them, kids, whatever. But enjoy your retirement, as I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go over to the yellow ball, or we usually do students of the month, so for now we're doing
Teachers of the month.
quickly did the math, is 132 years of teaching for doing across the river.
Thanks for that.
That's the problem I have. Because it's hard to. I'm not ready to.
Yeah, Brandy, she's a Trafford.
You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you're more than welcome to leave.
I mean, a little bit, but not. Like I left early today to do a softball. You know what I'm saying? So they stopped. You're always shaking hands. They stopped letting me out.
I'll tell her, all right?
Because I'm down to 20 hours.
Enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Well, not quite. Well, we had a big project. I was up there almost 30 hours a week for a couple months this year. It's like, hey guys, we got children.
That's all retirees, right? Is that all you have? You say that's all I have. There's no visitors, no old business. I'll make my executive session
Because
now.
we're moving from an old
And what
system to a
Justin
new
can say.
system. And I know the old system better than anyone who's still there. One of the young kids said, you need to go ask for a raise. He told me that unprovoked. He did. I was like, wait, you
That's not my family's
You are going to say anything about that?
when we hire them, when they'll
So you're going to get some cake from
they know they have
I don't mean this.
No.
his daughter. His friend, one of the new hires, Gianna.
I didn't have the permit for that.
That's all I have for information.
No, we have that. Oh, okay.
Oh, definitely, I'm sorry.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you.
Enjoy your cake, too.
Just want to also acknowledge the other retirees who couldn't be here. So we do have a number in mixed positions. Mr. Akins, who's high school special ed, he's retiring. Tim Buxton from our maintenance department is retiring. We also have Kim Lance. She actually retired
January.
earlier in the year. She's elementary teacher at Harrison Park. Mike Mostalski, Penn Middle School English teacher. Terry Morrow, district-wide nurse. Cheryl McGartland, PCA at McCullough. Donnie Zimmerman, custodian at Sunrise Elementary. And last, we have Sherry Elliott, secretary at Trafford Middle School. So thank you to all of those people for their service. We appreciate it. They've been great to the district, so we wish them well in their retirement.
Thank you, Mr. Ingles. And that's all we have under information.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. It's would be now time for recognition of visitors. We have none tonight. There are no items under old business. And prior to this meeting, the Penn Trafford School Board of Directors convened for an executive session Monday, June 13th, 2022 at 5:15 PM to discuss real estate, personnel, and safety and security issues.
Yeah, I got it, Mark.
It is now time for our consent agenda. Are there any action items that anybody would like removed from the consent agenda for separate action?
Yeah, Mr. President, I do have one. It's item number, I believe, H,
Subject H.
subject H.
And what's that subject?
That is the assignment of fund balance,
Athletics, right?
budget and finance.
Okay, so that would be, I believe, Mr. Nemec's, item H. Is there any other items?
Mark's gone. I got it.
Going once, going twice. So item H will be removed from the consent agenda. And
No, that's me.
with that item removed, I will now entertain a motion for the consent agenda to be approved as presented minus item H.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Question, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Which now brings us to budget and finance. Mr. Nemec?
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to assign $5 million of fund balance for future retirement, building projects, and/or capital purchase expenses.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any-
Question.
No questions on a motion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Move to recommend that the 2022 to 23 school district budget and schedules in the total amount of $63,572,732 properly advertised in accordance with the school laws of Pennsylvania be adopted and filed in the official board minutes to include the following taxes as shown in the budget. Real estate tax at a rate of 90.25 mils. The real estate tax for Allegheny County portion located in Trafford is 14.09 mils. Per capita tax at the rate of $5 on each eligible resident. Act 511 taxes per capita, $10. Occupation resident, $10. Local services tax, $52. Realty transfer tax, 1%. Earned income and net profits, 1%. Total budget breakdown is as follows. Revenues, local sources, $740,123. State sources, $27,387,752. Federal sources, $873,241 for a total of $63,001,116. Expenditures as listed. Estimated beginning fund balance, July 1st, 2022 of $10 million. Budgeted revenues, $63,001,116. Budgeted total revenues, $73,001,116. Budget expenditures, $63,572,732. Estimated ending fund balance, June 30th, 2023, $9,428,384.
We have heard the motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Question.
Question, just to understand, this is just voting on the budget, not the millage, right?
No, the millage is included in that.
This will, if we've approved this
I thought we did that
budget,
at the back here.
Yeah, we
There's-
were-
there will be a separate motion, but
There's
it will be
separate-
assumed that that's why you're gonna hear me vote no for the budget because it requires a 2 mil tax increase.
That was the question. This particular budget proposal includes a 2 mil tax increase, correct?
Correct.
So we have
There
a
are two
motion.
separate millage motions, but in order to fund this budget that is currently presented, it would be 90.25 mils or a 2 mil increase in Westmoreland County. That's correct.
Any other questions? Okay, this could be a roll call vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Would you call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Issing,
Nay.
Mr. Klein,
Nay.
Mr. Kachasik,
No.
Dr. Costo,
No.
Mr. Leonard,
No.
Mr. Matarazzo,
Yes.
Mr. Nemec,
No.
Mr. Petrucci,
Yes.
Mr. Stovar.
No.
The motion fails, 7 against, 2 for.
Okay. We do have some obligation to pass a budget by a deadline. So I'll defer to our superintendent and secretary as to, is there a fallback position?
Well, is there something that you would want to cut to make this budget work, or? I mean, I would refer it back to you. I presented the budget. I came up with different things that we needed for next year. And if you do not support the 2 mills, then you either are going to have to support less mills, or perhaps no mills, or you're going to have to make some cuts you would like me to make as far as staffing, educational programs. I know money we was going to put aside for the building expense. So what would you feel like cutting? May I ask for information from the members who voted for no?
Okay, I'll start. We have approximately a $10 million fund balance. I would suggest the possibility of considering moving, a mill generates about $300,000, not quite. The 2 mil tax increase for this year would generate somewhat close to $600,000. I would suggest consider moving some money from the fund balance to help with the millage increase. That's just a suggestion. I would not like to get down the weeds and try to figure out the day-to-day operations, how you guys do your business, tell you who to hire, who not to hire, cut budget line items. I imagine there could be room, because I know whenever we were developing the budget for a while, we had a 0 mil budget, and it wasn't. And that's my suggestion.
Bill?
Mr. President, I would like to make a new motion of 1.5 mils, 1 mil set aside for future construction or building concerns, and 0.5 mil for general budgetary increases.
Okay, now we have another motion on the floor made by Mr. Kachasik.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Did you, Mr. Secretary, get all that down? So
I'm writing it. Give me a second here.
Can I ask a question?
sure. But I would like our secretary to read back the motion.
Okay.
Then whenever he's done reading back the motion as stated, then we would certainly be welcome questions.
The motion would be a millage increase of 1.5 mils, 1 mil dedicated toward capital improvement, which is actually currently in the budget, and another 0.5 mil toward general operations. That would be the motion. I guess my question would be then, are we making up that difference, taking it out of fund balance and adding to the 500,000 that we're currently planning on using?
The answer to that would be yes.
Okay.
So that would all be part of the motion. Questions on the motion?
Okay, question on the fund balance. What percent of our budget, it looks to me it's what, 12, 15% of our budget is our fund balance right now?
Our unassigned fund balance, which is recommended between 5 and 8%, is somewhere around 7.5%.
Okay.
The rest is dedicated for the $5 million we just said we were going to put toward capital improvements.
Okay.
So that's already been passed by the board. The board's already taken $5 million and dedicated it, so that leaves us an unassigned fund balance of somewhere at the end of the year of $4.5 million less whatever we're doing right now, so we'll be somewhere around $4 million, so, 6.5%, 7%.
So still well within the recommended.
Well, there's a suggested percentage. What did you say that's suggested or recommended, whichever word fits
It's
best?
between 5 and 8%.
So we'd be about in the middle of that.
Yeah, we would be in the middle, yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, we will have a roll call vote.
Mrs. Issing,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
No.
Mr. Kachasik,
Yes.
Dr. Costo,
Yes.
Mr. Leonard,
No.
Mr. Matarazzo,
Yes.
Mr. Nemec,
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-2.
Okay, motion carries, budget approved. Now we will now move, well, Mr. Nemec, is that all you have?
I do appreciate you passing that because I know we still have, it's not the 2%, but we still have the 1.5 and giving us the opportunity to use money from the fund balance to keep the educational programs and everything I have in place for next year. I appreciate it. We have staffing needs, we have support needs as far as extra things we've been adding and doing, so I do appreciate keeping everything going as is.
Well, hopefully when Mr. Lego prepared the budget, he was conservative on what the governor is promising, and hopefully the governor will surprise us this year, and we can make it up there on the basic subsidy.
I hope you're right, Mr. Nemec. I think I was conservative based on the numbers that are in the state coffers, but, unfortunately, the state doesn't give us the luxury of passing a budget before we have to pass ours, so.
I agree.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, that we will need to, we will have to find that money in the following year's budget to replace the fund balance, correct? I mean, because we're going to have to dip into next year's budget the same way. If we don't find those monies, we have to have that revenue source
Correct.
every year is what I'm saying.
Yes, correct.
Okay, and again, I'll make a couple comments. I, as you know, voted no, simply because I thought there's a little more room to pare it down. But I am not going to sit here and try to do the budgetary work for our secretary. Our secretary does a great job. I have a high degree of respect for him. He's a good fiscal manager. But there's some variables out there. Mr. Nemec mentioned one. And so, moving on, I believe there's going to come a time in the very near future, we are not going to have any choice but to raise taxes. That's another reason I hesitated this year. The way things are going in all the other arenas that we deal with, we are going to get into a situation we're going to have to raise taxes to make our local bills. And I didn't want to do it till we had to. So, Mr. Nemec, is that it? Is there anything else?
Yes, I'm sorry, that's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, we'll now look at personnel and curriculum. Mr. Petrucci.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to thank Ms. Kelly. She continues to highlight the stuff to make sure that I don't miss any of these words. But thank you very much, Ms. Kelly. Okay, the employment personnel. Move to employ the following personnel. New employment is contingent upon receipt of all necessary documentation in excess of Act 34, 151, 114 waivers from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania within 30 days. Randy Kokenar, math teacher at Penn Middle School, effective August 19th, 2022. Annual salary of $45,017. He's in step 2M rather, sorry. Next is Jessica Hardner, special education teacher, Level Green Elementary School, effective August 19th, 2022. Annual salary of $45,017, step 2M. Next is Julie Kessler, grade 4, teacher, McCullough Elementary School, effective August 19th, 2022. At the annual salary of $48,517, step 5M. Next is, that's a good name here, Gianna Castaldo, grade 3, teacher, Harrison Park Elementary School, effective August 19th, 2022, at the annual salary of $44,100, step 2B. Then Erica Mall, reading specialist, a teacher at Level Green Elementary School, effective August 19th, 2022, annual salary of $46,017, step 3M. Then Ann Hoy, nurse at Sunrise Elementary School at the rate of $23 per hour, effective May 23rd, 2022. Then Colton Kalmar, software application specialist, direct district-wide, effective July 1st, 2022, at the annual salary of $49,892. Then Brandon Glover, technology assistant, district-wide, effective July 1st, 2022, at the annual salary of $37,150.50.
Second.
Question. I just have a comment. For those of you, welcome aboard. Nick will be here in 35 years to congratulate you upon your retirement.
The rest of us will be gone.
And could you, I know, Miss-
Yeah, we're gonna introduce him.
well, first we'll pass this to you.
Yeah, I'm
All
gonna
right.
introduce
Then we'll pass,
my-
then I've,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Okay. Now you're here. Now, Dr. Ash, could you have them
Yes.
introduce themselves to
All right,
us?
we're gonna start with Randy Kokenauer. Randy, maybe come up to the mic and maybe you have to put it on. Is it on? Thanks, Colleen.
Yeah, hi, I'm Randy Kokenauer. I graduated from my undergrad at St. Vincent College, where I studied math and secondary education. And then I was actually hired on as a grad fellow 2 years ago. So if you guys kind of remember starting up that program, I was in like the second group. And in the past 2 years, I have finished my master's also at St. Vincent College, but I've been working within the district, and I can honestly say that I've really, really enjoyed it, and I can't imagine teaching anywhere else. So I'm super excited to be here. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Did you bring anyone with you?
God bless you.
I brought my fiance here, but she's gonna talk in a second. So.
Okay. All right. Next we have Jessica Hartner. She's going to be our special education teacher at Level Green, and she's been with us for 2 years too. I'll let her talk.
Hi, I'm Jessica Hartner. Similar to Randy, I was a graduate fellow for my first year, and then this past year I was at Harrison Park as an SLA in the emotional support classroom. So I'm very excited to be here. I graduated from Norwin, so I'm happy to make the jump to PT, and just excited for all the things that I'm going to learn and grow.
Randy and Jessica are getting married when?
In 12 days.
Thank
you.
Congratulations.
I have a good comment too, that M that Mr. Petrus was calling, that means master's degree.
Yeah.
So I think 4 of the people that have been hired, master's degree, which is fantastic. So congratulations on that as well.
They came out of the fellowship program at St. Vincent, which we are part of, so they've worked as fellows for us, which is part of it, they're working on their master's, so it's a good
That's
program.
wonderful.
We love the program. Unfortunately, we only have one for next year as of now, so I'm hoping that Dr. Ont maybe gives us some more. And I know Jim also works there. If you can try to get some more fellows for me.
Was that St.
St. Vincent, your daughter, Brandy, one of our teachers, Brandy Lockwood, he's Dallas's daughter. She also teaches there. So we do have a great connection with St. Vincent, and honestly, they gave us great teachers tonight. We also hired some in the past as well. I know Sierra Lewis was from there, and a couple different ones. So I'm very pleased with the program.
Could somebody just expand a little bit for me from my naivete on the fellowship thing? That piece. If you could just explain it just in a couple sentences.
Yeah, so basically it's just as we go, we are the database hub, so we just worked the past 2 years as like a building sub. So I was in Penn Middle for 2 years ago until I was hired as an SLA, but during the day we just worked through, I guess the role is supposed to be some job that you don't have to take anything home with you, so that whenever you go home you can work in your master's degree. So I got my master's in curriculum and instruction, so in the evenings while I was working at Penn Middle. And then obviously this year, halfway through the year, I got switched up to the high school. But yeah, that's just kind of the deal, is that we work in the school during the day and then the evenings go back and take our master's program.
Well, I knew you guys to be, for most part, SLAs, but for some reason, I didn't hear the term fellows before, so that's great. I kind of know what it is, but I was wondering how it was working here, so thank you.
And Gianna Castaldo.
Hi, I'm Gianna Castaldo. I'm originally from New Jersey. Good job pronouncing my name. I studied early childhood education at Duquesne University, and then I was hired as a building sub at Sunrise Elementary 2 years ago, and then I became a long-term sub for the SLA for 3rd through 5th grade, and then that's the position that I was last year before I got hired this year. So I'm super excited to work in this district, especially with one of my best friends. So we'll be working across the hall. So I thank you for this opportunity.
And it was nice.
Congratulations.
And I have to,
Welcome aboard.
the nice thing on Gianna, remember during our COVID year, we did not have many people who wanted to come to work. We did not have, and I think Jessica started then, Randy started then, it was just, we went back to school, especially in our elementary, K to 8, we were open and full, and it was very hard to find subs, and so we were blessed to have you that year, and then you did an excellent job, and so we had a lot of people who came out of that year who showed up to work, Erica was one of them, and they all did an excellent job and stayed with us, and now they're being hired. So thank you for coming that year and staying with us, and we're very lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Gianna, you brought someone with you?
Well, my family's watching.
Okay.
They're in South Carolina. And then this is my boyfriend, Tyler, and my Pittsburgh family, the Simpsons, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Tyler.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Erica Mall, a reading specialist at Level Green.
Hi, my name is Erica Mall. When I graduated from high school, I went to Penn State where I earned my degree in early childhood education. And then I went and moved on to earn my master's at Pitt in reading, which is where I earned my reading specialist certification. And then I came here to Penn Trafford, and I've been working here for the past 3 years as an SLA. I'm at Trafford Elementary School. And I'm very excited to start at Level Green, and I'm very blessed to have this opportunity. So thank you all.
We're very lucky to have you. Do you have family with you?
Yeah, so my mom and dad came with me. They're sitting in the back there.
I believe your dad teaches?
Yeah, my dad's been a teacher.
You told me, where does he teach?
He teaches at Plum.
Plum, all right. How many years?
I just finished my 26. Wow.
26. Oh, congratulations. You should be very proud. Very proud. She works very hard. So she works very hard. We're very lucky to have her.
Thank you.
I think I got, oh, no, I missed one. Okay, thank you, Colleen. And next we have Julie Kessler, grade 4 teacher at McCullough.
Hi, everybody. My name is Julie Kessler, and I graduated from Westminster College with my bachelor's in elementary education. I taught first grade in the Moon Area School District for a number of years. Then I stayed home with my son for a while. I have 3 children now. And I earned my master's degree as a reading specialist from Duquesne University. Soon after that, we moved over here. We used to live in Moon Township, and that's where I taught. And we moved over here, and I began to teach preschool at the ARC in Harrison City. And the past 2 years, I've been at McCullough, and I'm so thankful to be at McCullough. You know, the people that you work with and the kids that you take care of, they become like your extended family. And I'm very excited and thankful.
And we're very lucky to have you. Very lucky.
Hey, Julie, you should tell them the fun fact where your husband works and what your husband does.
My husband works for Franklin Regional School District. He's the athletic director over there.
Yeah, I think a lot of us already know him. I think, Scott, you know him, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. She's an athletic director widow in the evenings, you know how it is.
Congratulations.
And then, I know Ann's not here tonight, but we're glad to have an extra school nurse because we still need more school nurses. And I have Colton and Brandon. They've actually been with us for 2 years working through a different, remember we used to outsource our tech people through Brightwise?
Mhm.
We decided after the 2 years of having Colton and Brandon on our staff that we're gonna actually hire them from PT. So they were both hired now officially for PT. So I'm very happy that you approved that for us, and it's nice to have our people with us. And we're no longer gonna, although we enjoyed the company, we're just gonna decided to take them upon ourselves. So thank you very much. So they're not really new to us, but now they're officially PT. All right, and that's all I have. Oh, I'm sorry, I keep going. Nick.
Still on Mr. Matruzzi.
Okay. Retirements. Move to accept the following retirement resignation. Tim Buxton, maintenance technician, district-wide, effective August 31st, 2022. Donald Zimmerman, custodian at Sunrise Elementary School, effective September 2nd, 2022. Mike Metelsik, teacher at Penn Middle School, effective June 1st, 2022. And Cheryl McGartland, PCA at McCullough Elementary School, effective May 27th, 2022.
Second.
Question.
We have a motion second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Just wanted to jump in. Colleen's going to take a picture of all my new teachers right after the meeting, so we only have 2 more items, so please stay. I forgot to do that. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Petrucci. Okay, taxes, insurance, census, Mr. Matarazzo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does this stay the same after?
No.
Now it's gonna have to be recalculated.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's
The Westmoreland portion will be 89.75. The Trafford, I have to run through the state formula, so I won't know that tonight. I'll have to recalculate it.
Okay, so we will have a motion for a tax increase. You can, I would say, sufficient for this motion to state the millage increase, and we'll expect our secretary to calculate the information at the appropriate.
But I can't say that 89.75.
Whatever he is.
89.75 is correct. The Trafford portion, I have to run through the state formula, and I just can't do that tonight. I wasn't prepared for that.
Okay.
So it would be to
To
be
be
determined.
determined for Trafford.
Okay.
Yeah, for to be determined, yeah.
TBD. TBD, all right. Be it resolved, and it is hereby resolved by the Board of School Directors of the Penn Trafford School District, there is hereby assessed, levied, and imposed for the fiscal year beginning July 1st of 2022 and ending June 30th of 2023, a tax on all real estate in the district subject to taxation at the rate of 89.75 of assessed valuation of taxable property. The real estate tax rate for the Allegheny County portion will be to be determined.
Second.
Question.
Okay, wait a minute, you blew that by me too. It's 89.75, right?
Yes. And the
Okay.
Trafford's TBD.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Nay.
Nay.
Pull the board.
I
Thank
got
you,
it.
Mr. President, that's all I have.
Do we need to pull the board on
No,
that?
I have it.
Yeah, we should pull the board. Pull the board.
Mrs. Issing,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Nay.
Mr. Kachasik,
Yes.
Dr. Costo.
Yes.
Mr. Leonard,
Nay, because of the same logic I expressed before about the budget.
Mr. Matarazzo.
Yes.
Mr. Nemec.
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci.
Yes.
Mr. Stovar.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-2.
Okay. Is that all you have?
That's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's now time for my brief solicitor's report.
Thank you. It will be very brief, Mr. President. I don't have anything additional to add.
That's real brief. Thank you. Okay, is there anything else, anybody else on the board cares to ask, say, state, or any more comments or anything before we entertain a motion to adjourn?
Congratulations on another year to the administration team and principals and teachers and staff. I think another success, and I'm proud to be part of this school district.
Thank you very much. It was a, you know, all the accomplishments we sent out to in my end of the year letter, I was very proud of everything we've done and everything we achieved. And I'm saying I'm very blessed to be here. This finished my 30th year in education, 15th year at Penn Trafford. And I still want to keep going. I'm still excited to wake up every day and see what life gives me tomorrow. And I know a couple of retired teachers said that it's always, you just have to wake up and expect new things and keep smiling and keep going, because every day is an adventure. And I'm very lucky to have the school board that I do. I'm very lucky to have the support of the community. I'm very lucky to have the support of my family and my wife, who, you know, the hours they put behind you, and because when you leave, you kind of leave the house. So I always appreciate that, because I'm gone sometimes more than I'm at home. So I do appreciate that, kind of like what Scott said tonight as well. And no, I'm very lucky, and like I said, I was very, we got the school year done, we had a lot of accomplishments.
How many years you been superintendent, Miss?
Superintendent, oh, you asked me a tough question. I think this was my ninth.
Ninth?
Another 10.
Is that right?
It flies. Your time flies when you're having fun. Scott, do you want anything to say?
No, it's always been a pleasure working, and for the board here, you guys have been great, treat us well, and we have a great working relationship, and we want to keep it going that way. So I just know what things can be like in other districts, and I can honestly say that we don't have all that, some of those issues and problems I see happening elsewhere. So I appreciate that, and it's great to work here, so thank you.
I want to comment too, the quality of the people that retire means so much to this school district, starting from Mr. Petrucci, hiring some of these people, but the quality of our retirees is really inspiring. And I want to encourage our new teachers. Credentially, you guys sound great. I mean, I'm impressed by who you hired. But now it's, can you step into their footsteps and create your own legacies?
And so we're really encouraged by the quality of people we've been able to hire. And
It's
anxious to
very
be
hard
hired.
among our staff when you're actually
Oh.
hiring from like West Ethic or SLA
Yes.
or it's extremely challenging and difficult because we do have a lot of good teachers out there. So when you truly get the job, you burned it, you went through a lot, but it is extremely hard. Did I miss any family member that someone brought with them?
Who's that sitting with Mr. Simpson? And I will not be here when you retire.
Don't bet on
Don't
it.
bet on it.
What I would like to know is how many teachers Nick actually did hire?
Everybody on that list?
Literally.
Everybody
it's been
that's
a
still
few.
working here.
It's been a few.
How long you been on the board? 42 years?
42 years and counting.
Number 43 right now.
See, I'm in my 15th year, so I'm not quite half
still-
as long
you're
on
still
the
a
board.
puppy.
I'm still a newbie, what, behind the years. But I'll tell you this, over the years I've been here, I've watched the many people we've hired, followed the credentials, and at one point in time, I used to look at all resumes and this and that beforehand. Now I kind of wait till we get to this stage of the game. But I was very impressed by a lot of the people we've been able to hire. This district is what people refer to as a destination district. It's a place where people want to come to, they want to be, they want to work, and I think they stay. We don't get
too many people that
we
are
don't get
leaving.
too many people leaving.
I'd just like to add it also that we've had a great administrative team who's done a lot of screening, a lot of interviewing people, a lot of promoting people to different positions, and results speak for themselves.
Yeah, that's where I was going with what I was saying. It's a team effort. Board, administration, and what works right down to everybody that's involved in the process, right down to how good our custodians take care of the buildings. We appreciate our police officers staying in there, helping keep us safe and keeping everything under control, which it is usually pretty good around here. I just appreciate everybody's efforts, board-wise, and pretty good attendance at everything we do. So it's been a good year. And I don't know if I would live long enough to be on the board as many years as Nick, but we'll see. Okay, is that everything anybody would have to say?
Enjoy your summer.
Yep, everybody enjoy their summer.
There's a gentleman back at that.
Is there somebody who has something to say?
I can't hear him.
He wants to speak to the board.
Oh, if you did you not sign up to speak or?
I haven't speak, that's all right.
Yeah.
My name's Robert Janusa.
Is the microphone on?
Can you hear me? My name's Robert Janusa. I'm a resident of Penn Township. I've lived in the township for 34 years. Think it's a great place to live. And I have a question concerning the article in the paper about the millage increase. I talked to one of the people on your board about a month ago, and I called him, and I asked him about this increase, and he says, you know, Bob, he says, you're the first person to give me a call and ask me that question. He says, we have these monthly meetings every month, and we discuss the budget and everything, and he says, there's not one person in the township that comes to these meetings to voice their opinion. And this is what my question was. I know you people have to juggle numbers to meet your budget and everything, but in people like in my position, I've been retired, senior citizen, and I live on a fixed income. And at this point in time right now, with the cost of living going up, gas, food, everything else, it's really tough. I'm trying to make ends meet here, and when I see these increases, I'm thinking, why can't they come up with these figures from another source other than people like us that are on fixed incomes? And this was something that's always been on my mind to ask you people, and I just wanted to present it to you, that's all.
What was your first name, sir?
Bob Janusa.
Bob, my name's Phil Kachasik. I've been on the board slightly more than Mr. Leonard, but a lot less than Mr. Petrucci. When I first started, the state is supposed to provide more than half of what our amount is, our budget, all right? And that number, I want to say, Brett, if I'm wrong, you can correct me, it was around 53%. okay, that of our revenue came from the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
That has dropped down now to below 40, it's like 47% now.
No, it's less than that.
Less than that.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like a lot,
Yeah.
but 1.5 mils would probably be something that would be removed if we would get the money that we were promised from the state of Pennsylvania.
That's not
And
going to
right now-
change?
No, yeah, it's not going to change. And the other thing that we didn't mention, you know, a lot of us had voted for putting 1 mil toward future construction. We don't get Plan Con anymore. Plan Con right now is dead. And Plan Con, what Plan Con was, is the state of Pennsylvania reimbursed you a certain amount of the money that you're putting into the buildings. That falls on now the school districts and the taxpayer. So if we want to build a new building, if we want to repair buildings, that's on you now. And again, that's thanks and courtesy to the state of Pennsylvania. So I just want to let you know that. Believe me, any of us here who vote for a tax increase, you know, we weigh all this stuff when we're making that decision. We know that we have senior citizens and people who've been retired for many years, and we take
True.
that into consideration. So I just want to let you know there's some other facts that go into this, and those are two of the main ones. You know, the revenue has been cut by the state of Pennsylvania, and then Plan Con no longer exists. If you had both of those reinstated, the numbers where they should be, we wouldn't have an increase today.
Hey, Brett, I have a question. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I kind of feel like at one point, maybe back in the 80s, that the state's reimbursement share was close to 60%? Never that high?
Not that I know of. No.
I don't think it was that high.
What was the highest the state's part ever was?
Only bit if you include transportation or not. They don't, it's not, help me on the transportation, Brett. Not supposed to include transportation, is that correct?
Transportation is not part of that, no, because transportation is a reimbursement, so
That's-
that's different. It's based on your expenditures versus just the subsidy you get, you know, to keep the doors open. Because if you didn't have transportation, you wouldn't get a transportation reimbursement. If you didn't, you know, have retirement expenses, you wouldn't get a retirement reimbursement, which of course, you know, doesn't make sense, but that's the way it works. I don't know, Tony, I started back in 1992. It probably was around 58% state reimbursement then, but I'm kind of, I'd have to really go back and look at a chart.
That's okay,
to see.
but it was close to 60, if you're at
It was close to
58.
60 at one point, yes.
Yeah.
No,
That's what I thought.
if you, I don't remember being that high.
If you look at the non-local, put in the non-local category and lump in the little tidbit the federal throws in, you might have been there. Probably, Brett. What's the percentage for federal? Sometimes people look at non-local. But
Again, we get very little federal funding because of our socioeconomic conditions. You know, some districts get 15, 20, 25%. We don't get, you know, I think we get 2 or 3.
If you just look at the budget right now, it's $63 million, and $27 million comes from the state. That's down in the 30% bracket, if I'm not mistaken. Do the math on it. Brett, can you do real quick?
Well, but,
Yeah, that's
but
40,
again,
40%.
you know, you're adding in all those reimbursements on
Yeah.
top of just, it was always the basic subsidy, which was supposed to represent 50%. It wasn't all these other reimbursements.
Yeah.
And even with those other reimbursements, we're still under, you know, around 43, 44%.
I didn't think that. I thought it was like 38. Okay.
Well, basic subsidy, if it was just looking at basic subsidy, it'd be much less than 40%.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought.
One other fact, interesting fact. Remember years ago when the state of Pennsylvania approved gambling?
Yes.
That was supposed to be like a windfall for the school districts.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
you get, if you apply, you get your $100 off your taxes, whatever that amount is. That's all you've gotten out of all these years later.
140.
140. It's a small amount, but they promised you a lot more than that. And just another fact I thought I'd throw in there.
Yeah, and again, I think that your tenure here deserves a little bit of an answer from me. I personally am also a senior citizen, retired on a fixed income. I've been in the community for pushing 70 years, 65 years.
Yeah.
And I can identify with what you're saying. Every time I look at these taxes, we are in a difficult situation here. We are. This board is. It's not an enviable position. And I always say every dollar that we spend is somebody else's money. That's why I labor so hard over this. And I didn't vote for a tax increase. Not that I say we could continue to not have tax increases. We're getting squeezed pretty hard right now. And, you know, I can identify with what you're saying. I don't know a lot about you, but I've been here for not as long as Nick, nobody has, but I've been here for long enough to tell you, I've seen this community go through a lot of changes, a lot of things. My father was on the school board whenever I was a young fellow back in the 60s and so on. So I've seen a lot of changes, but it is getting, in my short 15 years, it's getting very difficult on all the decisions we have to make, very difficult.
And I'd like for you to compare our millage increase with all the other 16 school districts in the county. I think you'll see that we're very fair.
In the
I think we
state,
budgeted
what
up
are we-
very, very
we're the
well.
lowest 14th cost per
It's
student.
doing very well.
Yeah.
Well,
14
it
out
just
of
seemed that
whatever.
I think we're number 7 in millage and number 3 in population.
Number 9 out of 17.
Pardon me?
Number 9 out of 17.
Okay, 9, yeah, then, so on the number 3 in population, so it's, no, we passed up Latrobe, sorry, we're number 3 now, which means we're budgeting very well. And don't forget another thing too, we have next to zero commercial tax base.
That's what's one of the things we're struggling with.
That is really difficult. If everything is residential and I really don't foresee, I see a beautiful industrial
all
park
this-
out in the
how about all
melon
this
plant out
new
there, which I think is
construction?
great. But we had to do that with LERTA also, was to give them a few years of tax abatement. But if you look at our commercial tax base and residential compared to Route 22 and Route 30, we're not even in the ballpark.
We don't have.
We're not close.
Isn't all this new construction helping out?
It will.
Commercial development will. Residential development's usually a wash or a loss because the cost offset by the amount of money you get for the school district's portion. It's your residential taxes are split between 3 entities, and if you get children in the mix, then the cost to educate the growth makes it not it's a
loss.
wash.
So that's
It's a
a
loss
loss.
at times.
Loss.
It varies. Sometimes it's a loss, sometimes it's a wash. Right now, our tax base is growing, but, and the population has been growing drastically, but that trend's starting to change. And there's 2 factors I do want to outline. In cost per student, we are one of the lowest, like
14th in the state.
Number 3 from the bottom.
way down. 500 school districts were 14th lowest cost per student. And then in academic achievement, we are in the top 5% or
Yeah,
less.
top 5% all the time.
And some of our schools are very high. So I have to say this, bang for the buck, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's the board just has to approve what we can, but it's the administration, the team effort. But it's getting tougher. It is.
Does the township urge any new commercial growth at all? It seems all residential. Is that the way they want it?
They try. They're putting a sewage line out Harrison City Export Road towards the industrial park, so there's development planned there, mostly residential though, and they're also trying to develop the property at Rite Aid because of the slip ramp that's going in, so there are definitely, the new township commissioners that have been around for the last 5 or 10 years are definitely trying to push more commercial development, yes.
Are they?
In the commercial development, they always do demographic studies as far as traffic counts and so forth.
Oh.
And again, what Mr. Petrucci said, not having a main artery is very difficult to develop anything big in commercial, big box or anything. They just don't, it's not there for them to have the customer base they need to support those. But we are getting some commercial development, but not what we need.
I see.
That industrial park is down in Mellon, we need about 10 more of them. It is really, I don't know if you've seen that or not, I've been out there, it's really,
It's growing right now.
really well, really well.
Is
To
it,
tell you, I was here in 88, I think we did the first, Westmoreland County came to us and asked for tax exoneration for 3 years. And we gave them the 3-year tax exoneration, and that is the plan on the left-hand side where it started. You see the warehouse right across from Bushy Run Community College. That was one of the first buildings there, and it's still doing well. And that was back in '88.
It's built out.
Pardon me?
It's built out.
Yeah, it goes all the way down to behind Pheasant Run now. So that's what you need. You need that kind of industrial development. But again, the reason, and that if you look at it geographically, it is right next to Route 22, which really helps out. But that's about the only, that's the closest spot we got to Route 22, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But 22 and 30 just, they circumvent us. It's What can I say?
And the other factors that come into play, there's a lot of what would look like open ground, but you have to have the people that own the ground interested in developing it, and many of them aren't.
Oh.
They don't want to sell it or develop it. They want it the way it is.
Really?
There's a lot of population want to keep this like it is.
A rural community.
Yeah, they want to stay rural, and I respect that. It's a beautiful community, very nice. And I grew up in a small town, Trafford, when Westinghouse was booming, and that's that time Trafford could cover the whole school district. But that's just long over now. It's Trafford like the rest of the Turtle Creek Valley. The industrialization was it's non-existent.
Well, okay, appreciate all your time. I don't want to keep people here all night, and I appreciate your explanations on things. It gives me some insight on what's going on here in the township, and I appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you. Thank you. You have a good evening.
Please come back.
I'll try.
And ask more questions.
Pardon me?
Ask more questions.
Ask more questions, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I forget.
Motion.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion, and do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Hey, Scott.